by Project 2025 or the Federalist Society. I mean, there's a whole lot of reasons.
That's a lot of great stuff. Can you tell us anything of why you actually support Kamala, though? Like, what kind of policy
you like? She's lowering prices through Medicare and Medicaid medicines.
Tell me.
She's going to be assisting small businesses, entrepreneurship with...
Stop. You made a claim, so tell us, how is she doing that? And what has she already done to achieve this?
Well, she's not... Everybody's taking on the deads. Yeah.
No, they're not taking on the debt. They're using money to make more money. That's how they grow. When you have something like the Biden administration, who we've had 40-year record highs of inflation, that's also a tax on company. If you have a small profit margin as a company, especially not in the first few years, you're losing money. So if your loan is high, you're paying back even more money. You may not survive as a business. And if you do, then you for sure can't expand unless you have massive profit margins where you can fit in these higher 5-7% inflation, or rather interest rate because of inflation, and still make a profit and still run your business. And that's a massive drain on the economy. And all that money, it's going into the ether. It's going nowhere. No one's getting any use out of it. It's not being used to create jobs or businesses. It's just going. And we're never going to see it again because unless we pay back all of our $35 trillion in debt, it's not going anywhere.
And this is why actually majority of Americans agree that when it comes down to the economy or economic policies, that they agree with Trump. And when you look at the actual polls of regarding Democrats, it's kind of funny. It's like more than half of Democrats agree.
I'm gonna have to look into that because I understand some of the economics behind it, but some of the things you said were a bit disingenuous as far as the inflation rate.
What did I say?
Yeah.
What he said about the inflation rate.
Okay, what about it? Was disingenuous?
You said 40 years high.
Yeah, it could be higher. We don't really know the true number.
I mean, you can look back at
people say-
inflation and GDP under the Democrats since the 1950s, and it's better.
What?
Well, I said we're at 40-year high inflation rates. That's what I said.
Okay.
Since the 80s, we haven't seen this kind of inflation.
70s even.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So why is the inflation so high?
Well, that's to do a lot. So first of all, there was COVID, right?
Right.
All right. So that's one thing to take into account, right?
Certainly, yeah.
Okay. Then also, how much did this current administration invest?
No idea.
It was around $3 trillion through infrastructure and the Inflation Reduction Act, which actually only increased inflation.
And how much did Trump do?
He did actually. Are we going to include COVID?
Yeah.
Okay, so with COVID, it was 8 trillion, but 4 trillion.
Without?
Okay, 1 second. 4 trillion of that was spent during COVID. It was like 3.8 or something like that in 9 months. I just want to remind you that at the time, the Speaker of the House was Nancy Pelosi, who proposed, this isn't rhetoric, proposed legislation that just didn't go through the House, or sometimes it would go through the House, it just wouldn't go through the Senate, where it equated to about another $8 trillion. So what it means that if Democrats were in control, they would have spent 2 to 3 times more than what conservatives or Trump's administration spent during 8-9 months. They would have created even a bigger deficit. And maybe you remember that by them saying Trump's not giving enough money to people through the forms of stimulus or federal aid through like unemployment and whatnot. Although people are getting like $600 a week, they're getting paid more than they were before on unemployment, which is crazy.
Yep.
But yeah, so first of all, that's what. Okay, well there's that. But okay, go do some research, and we do appreciate the good conversation. We invite you to have another conversation with us. We got people queued up, guys. Let's take a second. So first of all, we're streaming right now simultaneously on Twitter, YouTube. I think that's it. Yeah, YouTube and Twitter. So if you want to go follow us on there, The Breakaway. Both those places allow you to continue watching this live stream without being on this live stream. So if you want to continue scrolling on TikTok while watching us debate, you can also go do that on YouTube and Twitter right now.
That way you can use your phone while you're watching us at the same time.
Exactly. Bingo. And we're trying it out. It looks like it's working pretty well. So continue in here. Let's bring the next person up. Any, mini, miny, mo. Let's bring in Matt. Hey, welcome to the live. Are you a Kamala voter?
Yes, I am.
All right. Why do you support her?
In general, so I'm considering myself a left-leaning centrist, and in terms of when I review the policies and the approach to the economy, I side with Harris. I do want to comment on the taxes we were talking about with the corporate tax rate. So we're still currently under the Trump tax plan.
Yep.
And the Roosevelt Institute did a study on the impact of the lowering those corporate tax rates, and it found that over the time since it's gone on, that most corporations have not reinvested the bulk of that money back into their companies, and actually went to corporate executive compensation. And for the middle class worker, their wages over that time period have remained rather stagnant. So the thought that will be like a reinvestment trickle down effect have not actually taken place.
Okay, just one thing I want to pause you on there is that when I looked up to see how biased the Roosevelt Institute is, I do this in general when people cite sources, is that it leans heavy progressive and very left leaning. So that's one thing just to take into account. That's why I like to always refer to things like IRS data, right? Because from that we can actually look at actual facts and see, what's going on from there. In terms of individual income tax brackets that were, not like put into effect under the 2018 Income Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, individuals received a lot of money. Individuals between 50,000 to 100,000 got anywhere between 15 to 17% tax break. Lower than that, it was 15 to 50,000 bracket was getting like up to 26% back in income. It's pretty reflective when you look at household income for everybody, especially for Black, Hispanic. There's increased $5,000-$6,000 to the highest it's been on record. All of this is based on, again, 2018 tax cuts that were put into place. A lot of the corporate taxes also apply to small businesses, right? So that's something also to consider. That means that companies like, or businesses like small coffee shops or whatever it is, they received a lot of tax break. So I understand that, corporations probably, got some tax breaks like Amazon and whatnot, and I understand that they probably took more money home and they paid their CEOs more and whatnot. But in the process, they also use that money because they are greedy people to expand their businesses. So, for example, Amazon expanded, Walmart expanded, right? And when it goes and opens up more places like in New Jersey and low-income areas, that provides jobs and opportunities for individuals, regardless of what their political ideology is. It incentivizes that. And then also, if you want to include a tariff, like saying that, right, we can also tie this into climate change in a second, but with tariffs, that incentivizes companies to even open up more businesses here in America to provide more jobs for Americans. I understand that may increase the price on certain goods, but I'm okay with paying more knowing that it's investing in my country. And more importantly, if you enjoy climate change, which we heard that on the stage yesterday, well, why wouldn't you want to incentivize manufacturers to build in America? We are more likely to actually have certain regulations on them to control these emissions rather than outsourcing this stuff to China and India that you will never get them to get on board with this stuff.
So the thing about bringing jobs back to the U.S., the thing I haven't heard is how are they going to what I have not heard a plan laid out that says we're going to use these tariffs to then reinvest in American companies. So the thing is too, though, with what Trump is proposing with the tariffs, the bulk of that tariff increase is going to be with China. So if I'm a corporation and I'm considered, if I'm concerned with workers' wages and trying to pay as little as I possibly can in terms of workers' wages, then I'm going to look to move my manufacturing outside of China. And I worked for a wholesale company a while back, and we were actually starting to move a lot of our production outside of China. The economy in China has changed dramatically in the last 20 years to where workers were starting to organize. They were actually going on strikes and they're getting higher wages. So what would happen is those production facilities would then move further inland into rural areas where people were willing to take those lower wages. And the trend would continue to where those workers would organize, go on strike, demand higher wages to the point where they're starting to move outside the country. So I don't see anything specifically laid out that says, okay, if we increase these tariffs in China, then that means I'm going to bring my labor back to the United States. They're just going to continue to seek out places where they can pay people less than what they're going to be paid here in the U.S.
It's not specifically China. It's in general to companies outsourcing outside of the United States, right? And then, for example, I can also tell you that during 2017 and 2019, able to bring back between 400 to 500,000 jobs. The administration estimated that was around 1 million. This is according to independent analysis.
So I guess is there a plan that says, okay, we're going to take these tariffs that we're charging these other countries, and we're going to give these out as grants or loans or whatever incentives it can be to have these companies bring the production back to the United States? Like, I think we should bring production back to the United States. There's I live in the Midwest, and there's a lot of factories that over the last 20 years have shut down, or the jobs have become obsolete because of automation and other things. So I think we should do things to try to incentivize people, but there's nothing laid out in his plan right now that guarantees what the federal government's going to do with these increased tariffs. And we tried increasing tariffs in the past as a country. Like, it's well known that during the Great Depression, one way that the federal government tried to raise revenue because people weren't working and paying their income taxes, that they increased tariffs and just became an absolute disaster. So unless we put in some sort of regulation or something else to try to bring those jobs back, I think it's a talking point, but it doesn't really lead to anything.
Okay, so that was actually a good point, because I wasn't too sure what Trump was going to do with the increased revenue from the tariffs that the federal government would have. First of all, it would balance off the deficit that would come from the tax breaks that we're receiving and the ones that will be extended in 2025 if he's the president. But according to his Agenda 47, tariffs will be invested back into infrastructure projects through certain subsidies or grants giving to companies that are wanting to bring back their manufacturers back to America. So yes, there is a form of way that the tariffs that are collected will then be reinvested back into the companies that are choosing to manufacture here in the United States, develop their infrastructure, support farmers. That's the second thing that's labeled in there. So again, various ways to do that, and investment into domestic manufacturing. A specific plan, like detail for detail, like multiple pages long, doesn't exist. And that usually what we will see happen during the administration, right? Neither candidates historically has a fully detailed plan that they lay out for something so specific like that. It is something that you see already done by the administration when they're in office and working with Congress.
Now, Matt, do you agree with what David just said generally? Because it sounds like from what you said earlier, that you would.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty common sense. I'm fiscally conservative. So if they can lay out a plan that's going to happen, then I think that's great. I think it's going to be very difficult to try to sell the American public on it, because, as you even said, during the short term, prices are going to go up because those corporations are going to pass those costs on to the American people. What guarantees do we have that those prices aren't going to then come back down? We saw during COVID, we saw Home Depot, we saw Tyson, who, were price gouging and taking advantage of rising prices with other goods that weren't related to theirs. So it just, and the thing is with Trump, he even said during his debate, he wants to get rid of as much regulation as possible. So how do you manage and
we can counterbalance the increase in prices by bringing the cost of energy down, right?
That's certainly a driving cost of producing and getting goods out to the marketplace. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then also, I just want to mention that if we can, even not just extend the current tax brackets that we're in when they expire in 2025, but also maybe even further lower them, because we're bringing so much more revenue for the government. through the form of tariffs, and perhaps even just because of overall increase of just jobs in America because of how many more manufacturers are coming back to America. Then forgot where I was going with it.
So regarding energy costs, so I really don't hear a whole lot from the Trump administration and the Republicans right now about renewable energy. I think there's a huge opportunity.
Well, I mean, Elon Musk is going to be the head of his efficiency committee.
I don't put stock in anything Elon Musk says or does.
Trump said he's going to have Elon Musk, and Elon Musk accepted. So he's Mr. Solar. He literally has a company that makes solar cells, and they make their own batteries, and they're developing new batteries. So there's no one who's more pro solar than the guy who has the world's largest automaker that is electric.
Yeah, but again, like I personally don't put much faith into Elon Musk with anything, just because of how he manages Tesla, how he manipulates the stock price, and it just.
Wait, so you don't have trust in Elon Musk because he's built Tesla, SpaceX, the Boring Company, and now Neuralink? You don't have faith in a guy who's done all that?
Him as a person, I just personally don't. I mean, that's my opinion. I don't know if that,
But he's actually done all these things. So what is it that you don't trust in him to try to fix the government, even though he's donating millions of dollars to a super PAC that's supporting Trump? He's posting about Trump every day. He's losing advertisers because of what he posts. So you think someone that's doing all of this is really not going to say, well, I took the bullet for you, basically. I lost advertisers. I'm donating to your campaign. But now that you're in office, I'm not going to actually help you with the government. That doesn't make sense to me.
I think that's just going to be a point we disagree with. But I think what I do want to say, though, is what I would like to see is we could go through a new form of a industrial revolution here in the U.S. if our government invested heavily in renewable energy. And when you hear Trump speak, it's drill baby drill, and his focus is on oil production. But if you look globally, the movement is towards renewable energy and getting away from dependence on oil, whether it's foreign or domestic. And so I think
so Elon Musk actually talks specifically about what you're talking about. And let me explain what he says. He says, sure, the goal is renewable energy. Great. We have a problem right now. A solar farm, it can take years and years to build. You have to find where to build it. You have to get the permits. You have to get the product, and you have to do the installation and all the calibrating. We need a short-term solution to solve the runaway energy crisis that the Biden-Harris administration caused. So the most immediate solution is do something that we have tons of, that Trump already had ready, the Keystone Pipeline, that on day one, Joe Biden came and pulled their license. We had, it was something like 800,000 more barrels going to come in every single day. And they canceled all that. So Elon Musk says, sure, we all want solar, we all want renewables. But in the meantime, you have to solve the short-term problem that we're having with energy prices, and that can only be done quickly with oil. Now, of course, they're going to still work on everything else, but I mean, you can't fix everything with solar, because it doesn't, the sun doesn't shine anywhere. And we see a lot of these solar farms are actually getting destroyed, especially the ones over by the water are getting hit by hail. And all that stuff just sits there and seeps into the ground. All that lithium, all those materials that seep into the ground, that's terrible for the economy. And most of the components were made in China. So it's like we're losing on both ends. You have to drill and produce more oil in the very beginning.
Well, and I agree. You can't just immediately flip the switch and go on to the other, which is why I said industrial evolution. It does not happen overnight. But if you look at what the Biden administration has done over the last 2 or 3 years, the oil production in the United States is currently at the highest it's ever been. So there has been a switch to move to dependence on our own oil. But when I hear them both speak, and I do listen to a lot of what they both say, I don't just blindly read or hear what Harris is proposing. I don't hear the same emphasis on we want to invest in renewable energy here in the U.S. So I think there's a lot of factories, as I said, in the U.S., especially in the Midwest, over the last 20 years have been shut down, or you've got coal workers who, we're moving away from coal that have lost their jobs because that's all they've known. I would like to see our federal government step up and retrain people and rehab these facilities, similar to what we did during World War II when there was a need for planes and other war supplies. Get these people back to work, treat them, train them in the new skills to where we can start building batteries here domestically. If we don't start making big changes now, China's going to get way ahead of us in this.
So I don't understand why you don't like Elon Musk, because Elon Musk has literally, they're called gigafactories. He donated massive batteries to the country of Australia when they had this massive was like a flooding. So he's helping whole countries stay online. They're actually developing their own batteries because they were buying them from Samsung. And Elon said, I'm sure we can do it better in-house and get it for cheaper. So developing new ways to have a better, just better overall battery that's lighter weight, that uses less materials. He's actually even looking at things that doesn't use lithium, other types of batteries like solid state batteries. So this is the guy that's doing everything that you're talking about, and you still say that you don't trust him. So it baffles me when I say, oh, he's going to work with Trump. Well, I don't really believe him.
I just want to add, Matt, did you know that Biden's administration just launched literally dozens of Starlink satellite systems over North Carolina because of Hurricane Helene?
And Elon said that anyone in that area is going to get it for free.
Yeah, I mean, I have my opinion on Elon, so it's, you know.
But what is it based off anything, or like
are you?
All right, Matt, we're gonna go to the next person.
I just like Elon Musk. I don't get it.
All right. Crazy. Guy's literally doing stuff right now that he'll never see for himself. All right, welcome to the live. Are you a Kamala voter? Neutron.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Hello?
Hey, Kamala voter?
Yes, I am.
Tell us why.
I was only coming up here to talk like your tariff claim that it created a bunch of jobs. I wasn't sure where you were getting that from, because what I've seen that the trade wars from China cost jobs.
Okay, 1 second. I don't know if I made that claim. I said that between 2017 and 2019, the White House, according to Trump's White House, 1 million jobs came back to the United States. According to independent analysis, it's between 400,000 to 500,000.
Okay.
So probably has to deal with the fact that tariffs were imposed in 2018.
I highly doubt that from what I've seen.
Okay, so let's do this, Neutron. Let's just say these jobs, let's just trust this, okay? Say that almost 500,000 jobs came back to the United States under Trump's administration. Why? Why did this happen?
I don't know, because I don't think
It's not tariffs, right? But we don't know why, right?
Well, I'm not sure. Do you know? Like, well, I don't understand what you're asking me.
Well, what if I said it's tariffs?
I would love to see the evidence backing that, but
Okay, if it's not tariffs, what is it?
I'm not sure.
But you know for a fact it's not tariffs, right?
For what I've seen, the research I've seen is so that the tariff wars cost jobs in America.
Okay, explain that to us.
Let me see. I haven't looked at these sources in a minute. This one just comes from the U.S.-China Business Council.
Oh man, I mean, bro, look at where you're getting your source. The people that are getting charged with tariffs are telling the Americans that it's not bringing jobs back. Dude, that's like the worst place to get your source. That's like asking a murderer, I don't know, where he likes his hamburgers or something. That's crazy.
There's also Moody Antics, which also claimed the exact same thing.
Hold on. If it claimed the exact same thing, I'd be very suspicious that two independent papers came to the exact same conclusion with the exact same wording. So this is what happens when China.
I didn't say the exact same wording.
You said that they said the exact same thing.
Yeah, they came to like around the same conclusion around how many jobs were lost.
Okay, so how is it that two independent people, supposed independent people, came up with the same numbers?
Maybe that's what the research
Here's
suggests.
here's a problem: is when you're reading news, you need to realize who's funding it and where that story's coming from. So you have like obviously AP and Reuters, which have reporters and they develop stories, and then all the news agencies buy those stories for them because they don't have reporters going out to like Sudan on any given day. When you read sources that all say the same thing, it's because they're all being funded by the same people. So you need to find a very vast variety of things and then Google say, is this source biased? Because if everyone's saying the same thing and one of them's some kind of Chinese news source, then that should raise alarm bells in your head. Like, why is everyone saying the same thing?
Let's just see. Let's do the media bias then of this council.
I mean, but it's China. It's a China council. So do you think they're biased?
Let's see. That's what I'm about to check if they're biased.
No. I'm just saying, like, no. I'm saying, just think about it. Do you think a Chinese company is biased towards China's interests over America's?
They could be, yes. That doesn't necessarily mean what they're saying is false as well. Like, if we're talking about let's talk about the Israel and Palestine war. Just because information is coming from Israel or information is coming from Hamas doesn't necessarily mean that their information is false. So I don't understand that point.
No one's saying. I don't get it.
But I'm not saying you're saying that.
You do understand what you're talking about. China is negatively impacted by tariffs. So a source from China or something that advocates for China-US relationship is going to obviously have a bias when they say that the tariffs aren't good for Americans.
We are also impacted negatively by tariffs. So I don't understand your point.
Okay, how so?
It cost us $1 billion in higher taxes.
Wait, are you reading us the China source again, though?
No, this is from other sources. This is from the Tax Foundation. This is from what else is this from?
Oh, I'm actually glad that you brought up the Tax Foundation because I love the Tax Foundation. So let's do some forward thinking here. Okay. Under Trump's plan, he suggests one thing and Kamala suggests something else. But here's the beautiful thing about the Tax Foundation is that they actually ran all of their tax plan ideas.
Yes, I've read it. You don't need to go through after me. I know that Kamala's tax policies economic policies are also not that great either. You don't need to show me it. I read a lot of stuff.
I'm showing everyone in the chat, but what do you mean it's not that great? Trump's plan is by far vastly better than Kamala's plan. And for anyone listening, Trump's plan will cut 10-year revenue by $1.3 trillion. Long run wages, 0.06%, they would go up. And under his plan, we would lose about 300,000 long run jobs. Now, under Kamala's plan, here's what's crazy, where Trump would decrease the government intake by $1.3 trillion. Kamala Harris will actually raise it up by $1.7 trillion. However, her long run GDP is negative 2%. Long run wages is down negative 1.2%. And under her plan, they estimate that she would lose 786,000 jobs versus Trump's 384. So the government's taking in more money now. GDP is going to be even lower, and we're going to lose twice as many jobs. Now, if someone came to me with a business proposal and they said, which one do you like better? I would say, I mean, obviously, why would you bring me the other one? You're fired, to the person who brought me the other one. Now, that's literally what I would do. So you want me to lose more jobs and have lower wages and have lower GDP. So I just don't understand where all this is coming from. Like, where in this do you agree with Kamala's plan better?
Well, it's up to you. We can talk about tariff. If you want to say, I trust the Tax Foundation. So if you trust the Tax Foundation, then you can also say that tariffs are not a good thing for our economy.
So I just gave you Trump's tax plan and his entire economic plan here. And it's overall better than Kamala. So while you may specifically think that you don't like tariffs, David just read you some facts from 2017 and 2018, how he got in 500,000 people or so back. Biden has tariffs. He kept most of Trump's tariffs. Canada even has 100% tariff on EVs. Tariffs they're here. They're not like this thing that we don't do. We already do them. And when you see them implemented in the plan as a whole, you see that his plan is better than hers.
But okay, do we trust the Tax Foundation?
Wait, Neutron, 1 second. Can I just ask you something?
Yeah.
Democrats and Kamala Harris, they make it seem like tariffs is really bad, right? They'll hurt Americans, correct?
I wouldn't say just Democrats. I would say most economists, but
Okay. So can I ask you, why has this current administration, Kamala's and Biden's, kept almost majority of Trump's tariffs in place, while also introducing new forms of tariffs, literally like last week? Did you know that Biden's administration signed 100% tariffs last week on China?
I might have heard of that, but I think they're also not as smart for that as well. But
It was on EV cars. So maybe just type it in. You can also type in Biden's tariff plan on China. So
okay, I'm still going to do the fact that I don't think tariffs are great for our country.
okay, so why haven't Democrats done anything about it?
That's a great question. I'm not too sure why they're not doing anything about it.
Do anything about it?
I'm not too sure.
But you're voting for her, right?
Also for other issues as well. I was about to say, I think the Tax Foundation article as well does not include Trump's plan for mass deportations, which will also cause major
Mass deportation of criminal aliens?
Of all the undocumented immigrants, and not just criminals.
No. Wait,
yes,
hold on.
Yes.
Mass deportations, let's actually not think about it like what I feel like it means, but actually look at the plan. Mass deportation is of criminal aliens, because you don't need to go invent a bunch of agencies and fund these agencies. You already have a database of individuals who are illegal in the United States who've committed crimes, and you can go into these sanctuary cities. No?
No, it says he plans to.
What are you reading?
This is from the Peterson Institute of International Economics.
What is it?
The Peterson Institute for International Economics.
Can I ask you something real quickly?
Yes.
When you're about to make a claim, why don't you go to Trump's website, which outlines exactly what his plan is regarding mass deportations? Why don't you look at what J.D. Vance yesterday said on the stage regarding mass deportations when he was asked that question? Why don't you look at what Trump said when he was asked about what it means, mass deportations? Why are you going to tell me some source that I'll probably look up and it's going to be a progressive left-leaning source?
It's not.
By the way, what research are they doing for what policy? Because there is nothing more.
They have sources of him saying this stuff. Like they cite their sources of where this is coming from. They don't just say this.
Okay. Again, why aren't you citing to me the exact plan laid out regarding mass deportations that was put forth by the candidates themselves, by J.D. Vance, by Trump?
I guess I could do that better for you, but
well,
I can.
No, so what he's saying is that you're reading papers and people are saying he's going to do this, but the only source up to now has been the words that have come out of his own mouth and his vice presidential nominee's mouth. So anything that's not what they said is not the truth, because they have said it. That's what David's trying to get at, and I hope you get it.
So if I look this up, he's going to say he's only deporting criminals.
You can even go back to Did you watch the debate yesterday?
I did watch the debate yesterday.
Okay, so do you remember when they asked him about mass deportations?
A bit. I might have been distracted. I wasn't.
It's all right. It's a long debate. That's fine.
Yeah.
Why don't you just do this? Why don't you can come back on this live afterwards, but go
No,
watch.
hold on. Can we talk? Where are y'all getting the claim that tariffs are great for our economy?
I want you to think about this, right? In the long term, there are positive benefits from tariffs.
Like what? Like the GDP increasing? I don't ever seen that. I don't think that's happened before.
What?
Like what instance in history are like in our country where tariffs have been a net good for our economy?
Dude, David just literally told you 5 minutes ago about how it brought in 500,000 more jobs to the country during Trump's first presidency. And it's something that both parties are doing. So if it was bad for the economy, you think they'd be doing it? Especially if it was bad, you think the Democrats would continue Trump's tariffs? Absolutely not. So we got to use some logical line of thinking here.
You can say that, but like the general consensus on from economists is that tariffs are bad for our economy. I don't know what else you want me to say.
You have two options. Which one do you agree with? Do you agree with us shipping all of our manufacturing overseas and be dependent on foreign adversaries and a lot of times for our goods, for our supply chain logistics? Or would you say, hey, we should make everything here so that we're not beholden on other countries, especially countries that do slave labor, have massive human rights violations? Which one would you side?
I would side with market-free trade markets, because even the Farm Bureau themselves do not want tariffs because they rely heavily.
Again, hold on. You didn't answer my question. Which one are you for? For charging countries for doing business in America, or for shipping all of our manufacturing out of the country?
I would ship a lot of our manufacturing out of the country.
Well, I mean, this is exactly what's happened. So your dream has unfortunately come true. And this is why we have such massive inflation during COVID, because things shut down and we didn't make anything here. All the ventilators, all the medications, all the gowns, all the masks, all the PPE was made in China. This is partly why we have the inflation that we had now. This is your dream world right now. For the last 30 years, we've shipped everything overseas. But now,
Fabian, I'm curious if how much this guy cares about climate change.
Oh, Neutron.
I care a bit about climate change, yeah.
Okay, so who's more likely to have a environmentally friendlier, I guess, company in the United States or China or India?
Probably here, I'm guessing.
Okay, so you connecting some dots here?
I already know what you're going. I still don't see how to do with the economy, but did y'all not understand
the biggest polluter in the world is China? You know that, right?
But do you not understand that farmers themselves do not want?
I know you said that already. And I have no idea what you're talking about or which specific farmer said it, or if it's every farmer in America. I mean, that's just a generalized claim that I don't even know what that means. But you know that China's the biggest polluter in the world, and you know that China's carbon footprint, I guess if you want to call it that, has increased year over year, every single year. Well, people in America are talking about degrowth. Imagine degrowing the economy to save the rainforest or whatever they're saying now. You know who's laughing at us? China's laughing their ass at us because they go, great, we make all your stuff. You're dependent on it. You can't say anything against us. We're taking all your profit that you're giving us because we literally have slave labor. And then we're buying your farmland, we're buying your companies, and we're buying your media companies, which you just cited one, this media sources of China, whatever. So they're buying everything. And then here you are supporting what makes China stronger. But you're saying, I want to shop, I don't want to be strong in America. I want to move all our manufacturing overseas, because you haven't given us a reason why you think that's a better option.
Let's see, on the source I claim are just businesses that do business with China. It's a private company.
One second. I just want to say is that a lot of the economists in 2018, and you can go back and look at this, as a majority consensus that Trump's tax plan would do nothing for the middle class. And we can look at data and see how that is they just been proven wrong. So a lot of times these experts don't say a lot of good stuff, like the CIA, the intelligence expert, who all 51 of them agreed that Hunter Biden's story was Russian disinformation, right? Experts, we heard JD Vance actually say yesterday perfectly, just because these people have a PhD doesn't mean that they actually have any common sense. They've been proven wrong plenty of times. So, but appreciate you coming back on the live. We hope that you actually go and look at some of that stuff, like, for example, the mass deportation comments from Kennedy. And guys, again, we appreciate everybody being on here. Appreciate all the likes so far. Let's get to 25,000 likes. Let's get back over 200. Let's get to 300 people in here. Let's keep the show rolling. Let's get it going. Fabian, I think we just have to start going live a little earlier.
Yep.
All right.
It is 12:12.
It is, right? Jeanette, welcome to the live. Are you awake from Oliver?
Yes, I am.
All right. Tell us why.
Well, I personally work in real estate investing, and the housing market is a mess, basically, because Trump rolled back the Dodd-Frank Act, which allowed Wall Street and corporations to buy up all the real estate. And it's just been really, really tough. And my business specifically is almost impossible. There's 15, 20 offers on a shack, and something, years ago that would be easy for me to just buy one, quickly. So I think a lot of his policies and his rhetoric, has been dangerous.
He's the one that's his life has, almost his life was,
Almost ended.
ended twice because of
Yeah.
certain rhetoric, right? So we don't necessarily see that happening the opposite. And I hope that never happens, but his rhetoric, right, compared to the left, day and night. So let's think actually about the real estate stuff. What was it again that you said that was overturned?
The Dobbs-Frank. Well, he didn't overturn it. I think he just rolled back some of the regulations that Obama put in place to get us out of the recession in 2008. And it allowed corporations in Wall Street to buy up residential homes, and it's just created a horrible situation in the housing market.
Okay, I'm gonna have to read a little bit about that. But do you consider any other factors to be why there is that houses cost right now what they cost? Or there's an increase in houses.
I think it's just shortage.
What is the overall claim? Because you said that there's 15 offers on shacks. Is there not enough homes?
Yeah, there's no inventory because of the corporations buying up houses. I think they bought 20% of houses in the U.S. are owned by.
Break that down. Does that mean that people are trying to buy homes and there's none? Or are you saying that you are trying to sell as a real estate agent's homes, but you can't find any because they're owned by corporations?
Wait, say that again. Sorry.
So I'm just trying to get a better understanding. Are you saying that people are trying to buy homes and they're not able to find any homes because there's no homes to be bought? Or are you as a real estate agent not able to find homes to sell because they're owned by corporations which have the right to sell?
Well, I say both. I think there's no inventory for people to buy, and the inventory that's there, people
by corporations like BlackRock and whatnot.
Correct.
Okay. Let me ask you this. What do you think should happen in order for more houses to be developed and I guess more affordable housing to exist?
I like Kamala's plan to build, what did she say, 5 million homes or something like that.
Build 3 million homes. So let me ask you this. What do you know what she said that she's going to do in order to do that?
Isn't it she's going to raise the taxes on corporations? Isn't that going to help pay for
what?
Pay for stuff like giving people the $25,000.
Wait, we just established that the problem isn't that people don't have enough money to buy homes, right? It's just there's not enough inventory, right? So what is she going to do to actually increase, to be able to build 3 million homes? She said it. She said it. I'll tell you. She said it. She's going to cut a lot of the red tape, drop a lot of the bureaucracy, basically saying that she's going to cut back a lot of the regulations that Democrats themselves put into place. This is a very traditionally Republican thing that we as Republicans get grilled on because they say, well, you guys want to drop all regulations because you guys hate the environment and stuff like that. No, we just don't like so much bureaucracy and red tapes because as you can see, you can't even build homes in the United States when people need these homes, right? So let me ask you, what do you feel about that? What do you feel that she's saying the exact same thing that what Trump actually did in 2017, 2018, and 2019 to build affordable housing in the United States?
Well, I think it's interesting. I didn't know she said that she was going to remove red tape and regulations in order to build those homes. Yeah, that's interesting. I'd have to look into that more.
I really do, because for me, the thing that I see Kamala doing right now, which is it's hard for me to criticize her because everything she's putting forward is, but not everything, but a lot of the things is what Trump is doing or has done previously, or is what is traditionally a Republican or conservative position. by, the term flip-flop chameleon Kamala, right? So that's why, when people talk about housing, that is the funniest thing for me, is because that requires a massive amount of deregulations, cutting back on, taking big departments out, or completely taking federal employees out the picture when it comes down to certain departments with this stuff. That is not what Democrats do.
Well, I mean, to build more homes by removing some of the red tape, I don't think that's equivalent to letting large corporations buy up all the inventory.
I'm glad you said that, Jeanette, because while you guys have been talking, I've been looking at the Dodd-Frank bill rollback in 2018, and I don't know where you're getting that he allowed corporations to buy houses. I'm not seeing that anywhere in anything that I've searched.
In the Dodd-Frank Act, you're not seeing where he let corporations buy homes within the first 90 days of them going on the market?
No, what I see here is that the rollback was in something called the Federal Reserve stress test. And this is from CNN, so they would be the most critical of Trump. It said that he removed the requirement to have an annual Federal Reserve stress test to maintain certain levels of capital, to be able to absorb losses and liquidity, to be able to meet cash obligations, and to file a living will. So I don't see anything about real estate here.
I would go look it up, but I can't get off the app, or you won't be able to hear
No,
me.
that's fine. I mean, I've been searching. What did Trump do? What did Trump roll back of the Frank Dodd's bill do to real estate? And I don't find anything.
Yeah, I don't know the exact source where I read about it, but
Can I ask you something? What would you feel if you voted for Kamala and then she didn't do any of that stuff? She didn't, essentially become a Republican. She didn't drop any regulations, and there wasn't any of this affordable housing. Would you, if you had this crystal ball, because to me it seems like she's saying anything right now to get your vote. And I would hate to feel like I'm being manipulated to get my vote, knowing that, like, traditionally this isn't what they've done. They've done the opposite when she's been part of Biden's administration. She has previously stated, things that are completely opposite. Yet now she's saying this stuff, which is complete 180 from usually.
well, I think just like some people, I mean, I didn't vote for Trump in 2016, but a lot of people did, obviously, and that's why he was elected. And people wanted to give him a chance to see what he could do. So I think, why not give Kamala a chance, see what she can do? She's a new entity in our politics. And so, well, of course she was vice president, but she doesn't have a lot of power in that position. So let's see,
That's not true, because so as vice president, majority of the time, it seems like they don't do anything. But right now in today's modern politics, our Senate is majority of the time very close. It's like 51-49, 52-48, 50-50. Majority of the time, she was the deciding vote on implementing the policies put forward by her administration, like Biden and her administration. Things like the Inflation Reduction Act. When she signed that in law, that increased the amount of IRS funding and IRS agents so they could go after small payments and transactions like tips. And now she wants to do what? Not have any taxes on tips after enrolling, essentially, like her being the deciding vote brought in the taxes on the tips. So you see what I mean? There's a lot of things that she's actually brought forward, like the regulations and whatnot, that have actually increased, that have done a lot of things that she's saying that she's now going to go back and not do.
Okay. But I mean, you guys have any feelings about January 6th and all that stuff?
Well, sorry, one more second, Jeanette. So as to your claim that he allowed banks to purchase properties, and I guess in more that they already were doing, that was your first claim that you said, because you're directly affected by that because you're a real estate agent. I even asked ChatGPT, and there's nothing that you said, that statement you said, it's nowhere. It doesn't exist. I don't know who told you that, but it's not even correct. The key impacts on Trump's rollback on real estate did easier lending standards, loosening the Volcker rule, increase access to credit by rolling back some regulations. Smaller banks have more freedom to lend to businesses and individuals. This may have led to an increased mortgage availability. And 3, systemic risk and real estate investment. The rollback reduced regulatory oversight for certain banking activities. It did not directly legalize or expand banks' abilities to buy large quantity of homes for investment purposes.
Well, what source is that?
So I've checked all over the internet, and then I asked ChatGPT.
Oh,
So this is coming from, and I'm have sources from CNN, from CNBC open here, from the Federal Reserve itself. I'm looking up what a federal stress test is. There's nothing in, even ABC News. There's nothing in here about Trump's rollback allowing banks to buy houses.
so what do you think caused all these corporations in Wall Street to start buying up all the residential homes?
Well, think
What-
about it. If interest rates are low, you're going to buy assets in general. I think it's a terrible thing that they're buying SFRs. And I love RFK when he came out and said that in his plan, he would force companies to sell basically the majority of their SFRs if they're over a certain amount of, I don't know, assets under management or something like that. I proposed something like that, or I like that. And now RFK is working with Trump. But I agree. BlackRock owns everything. They have $20 trillion under assets. And they're most likely the people, them and the Chinese, that are overbidding for the homes that you're trying to buy and flip. So that's a true issue. And BlackRock, we know that what they're the biggest proponent of is ESG, DEI stuff. They're integrated with the very leftist woke organizations. So if you're going to be voting against the people that are doing this to the homes that you're trying to bid on, you would vote against Kamala Harris.
Well, that is one of my main issues, but like I said, there's other issues as well with Trump that I've seen, and this.
But that was your first issue, you said.
That
Because
was
that
my
would
first
directly
issue, and
impact you.
I agree, and that's now I'm gonna have to do a lot of research. You definitely have me thinking about it more, and I need to look into it more. But I agree.
Good. We like that. And we like the transparency because we just want to sit here and inform. And if we can, at the end of the day, just make you take a second look and do the research yourself, this stuff, then maybe you can make a better decision for yourself that can, impact you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Thanks
Bye.
for coming on. I just have to say, Fabian, that's what we do all of this for, right? At the end of the day, it's just to get that one good conversation like that. And that's the kind of people we really do like to have a conversation with, is because we can disagree with them. We do so civilly. We're tolerant. We hear them out. They hear us out. That's the thing, is that if they're tolerant, then that means that they'll most likely then will go and look up the information that we gave them to verify, right? Because if somebody gave me that kind of information, I'd say I trust you, but then I'll go and verify it.
Yeah. And that's why while you guys are talking, I went and checked everything I could, and there's nothing on any, even CNN and MSNBC and ABC didn't say anything about that. And then, so
yeah,
it's good that she's going to research it now, because maybe that's why she was so pissed at him, because it's directly affecting him. I get it, but it's not true.
Not exactly. All right, welcome to the live. Are you a Kamala voter?
Yes, I am.
All right, tell us why.
Because Trump undermined the border bill.
Okay. I guess let's start with, do you believe that there is a problem with the southern border?
Yeah.
Okay.
My ex actually got deported in 2006. He came back in 3 days. Super easy. It was like nothing. That was back under Bush. He's literally been trying to get back ever since. And so I've always, really wanted there to be a good closed border, because he tried to unalive me. So I don't want him in this country. Absolutely not. So having an abusive ex and worrying about the border, I used to be a Trump supporter until I was excited about the Lanford bill. I was like, oh, good. Something's going to get passed, at least because I know it has to go through Congress, and they can't just executive order everything. And I wasn't happy about Trump's executive orders either, and what he was doing I wasn't happy about like the separation of children from their parents.
Let me
Let
stop
me
you
finish.
for a
Let me
second.
finish. Can I finish?
No, because you've said a lot, so let's just talk about it. You said that you agreed that there's a problem at the southern border. Do you agree that there's a lot of migrants right now coming up to the southern border and then entering the United States illegally through a gap in the southern border?
Because I look a lot at the border the border page, I know that there's about an equal amount of people that come across the border as there was at the end of Trump's administration. When Trump was in office, he was supposed to build the wall, which I was really excited for. I actually live in a red state. I am married. I have a lot of kids. I'm very conservative.
We don't need to talk about the wall because he can't literally appoint funding for the wall. That is something that Congress does.
He could. He could have.
One second, Democrats derailed his legislation.
No, he didn't. He had the House and the Senate for the first 2 years of his presidency. He had the House and the Senate.
And House Republicans, all they did those first 2 years is just fight with each other about Medicare and tax cuts.
So why are you? Wasn't he a leader? Why didn't he make them do what they were supposed to do? They were under his legislation, right? Wasn't he the one?
Listen, I have to mute your mic because we're trying to have an actual conversation with you. You can't just keep talking or talking over me when I'm trying to ask you a very simple question. So I'm gonna mute your mic and we're just gonna try and do this again. You agreed that there's a problem at the southern border. I'm just trying to specify, you also agreed that there's a problem with a big flow of migrants coming up to the southern border. Right now, currently, anywhere between 5,000 to 10,000 illegal crossings are happening on a daily basis. Anywhere between 200 to 300,000 illegal crossings, actually, my bad, between 150 to 300,000 illegal crossings on a monthly basis. This is what, at the heights at 2022, 2023, maybe right now it's between 150,000 or so. But do you agree that there's an issue with migrants coming up to the southern border?
I agree that there definitely needs to be legislation controlling the southern border. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Yes.
So can we split the thing into two things? We have a problem that too many of them are wanting to come up to the southern border and are doing so and entering the country illegally. And then the secondary issue is what already happens when they're in the United States, whether that's abusing asylum laws, whether that is not having enough justices to look at asylum seeking cases, whatever it is. Can we split those two things?
So you want to split how many people are coming in versus?
No, I want to split the two issues because I think that those are two different issues revolving the same idea with immigration or the border, right? Well,
would you agree that the Lanford bill would have helped that whole situation? Both sides?
It would have helped the secondary, which is what happens when they're already in the United States. It didn't help with the primary.
It would by putting more Border Patrol agents on the border. Okay, what are you talking about?
Nally, that's good.
And it funded the wall. It was funding more for the wall. They put funding in there for the wall. What are you talking about? I'm sorry if I'm a little emotional, but I have reason. I care about the border. I care. I don't want my ex in this country. He doesn't belong here.
So then you're gonna like what David's gonna say if you listen.
Am I gonna like it? Am I? Okay, we'll find out. I'll mute myself. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You don't need to mute yourself. All I'm asking for is just try to put those emotions aside because I'm just trying to be rational with you here. You said that the border bill that was proposed by a Republican in the Senate would have provided more Border Patrol agents in the United States, right? What does that do to deter the amount of individuals coming up to the southern border and entering the country illegally?
Wouldn't the wall also help with that? Like putting more funding to build the wall? Because that was in the bill too.
Nally, just try to answer that question, right? Well, okay, a wall, then they would have started building a wall. What would have that done in adding 1,500 more Border Patrol agents across the southern border on the United States side done to stop the flow of migrants coming from Nicaragua, wherever, Venezuela, freaking China. What would have that done to stop that?
It would have helped at least vet the people that are trying to come here.
Okay, but we agreed that okay, I understand that, but if the primary issue is that there's a big flow of people coming to the United States, what good does it do that, we're going to vet them better? It's not going to deter people from coming up to the southern border, right?
Okay, so less people are coming in, or the same amount are coming in right now that were coming at the end of Trump's term. Okay, so apparently there was an issue at the end of Trump's term. So I have a question for you. What is Trump going to do to stop the flow of people that are trying to come here?
Good question.
That's a good question.
That is fantastic. So according to data that we've collected around the border, which we started collecting it in the 70s or 80s, during Trump's administration, we reached historical lows when it comes down to actual crossings. It's about 250,000 illegal crossings for the entire year, not for the month, for the entire year. That was 2018, 2019, maybe something like that. That was directly after we implemented Remain in Mexico and zero tolerance policy. Remain in Mexico meant that if you want to seek asylum in the United States, you do it outside of the United States, except very small, special cases. That meant that people weren't illegally entering the United States and then saying, I'm seeking asylum. Okay, well, you're in the United States. We're going to let you seek it already in the United States. No, it meant that if you're going to seek asylum, you're going to do it outside of the United States. So people stopped entering the country illegally. Some people stopped wanting to come up to the southern border because of that. When the caravan started to come up during 2018, I think it was 2018, he implemented zero tolerance. This is a deterrent.
I didn't agree with that. I didn't agree with the zero tolerance.
Now that's fine. Let me finish. Zero tolerance was a policy that meant that if you do enter the United States illegally, not through the port of entry, but illegally, we will bring you to a detention center, separate you from your family.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
1 second.
I don't care who you are. That's not Christian. That isn't Christian. If you're Catholic or Christian.
Allie, we're going to mute you again. You got to relax.
Go ahead and mute me then. Mute me.
Well, maybe just restrain yourself. Are you an adult or are you 12 years
I'm an adult, but I'm also a mother who cares. Like, say somebody tried to separate me from my child.
I promise you care as much as what's going on at the southern border right now is what the zero tolerance policy did. So first,
the same thing ain't happening. They're not taking little babies that are breastfeeding from their mothers, taking them from the mothers and putting them out. Fuck off, man. I'm done. I'm done talking to you guys.
They're doing worse.
Bye. Bye. And this isn't me. Like, this is just, I'm disgusted that you're even bringing this up. The fact that you're bringing this up as a positive, are you?
Nally doesn't want to talk about the simple fact that right now there's
We're saying this is positive. So
there's documented atrocities at the southern border right now of what the cartel is doing to all the migrants. It is continuously happened for the last 3-4 years, whereas zero tolerance did that for a couple months. Yes, it was inhumane, but guess what, guys? We dropped to the lowest rates of illegal crossings ever, which meant that we deterred individuals from actually coming to the United States. Ended rates of immigrants, illegal people wanting to come up to the southern border. It's simple as that. She didn't want to stick. Her emotions got the best of her, and she didn't want to stick around for the conversation.
She said bye, but then she didn't go bye. She stuck around.
Come on.
Yeah, a lot of people fail to understand that when they bring up that exact same issue. Well, they blocked the border bill. Well, it actually wouldn't have done anything to fix the problem. It would have just made it easier or quicker for immigrants to file their asylum pleading and then go off and then get a credit card, get a phone, get flown to any destination they want in the country, and then get their housing paid for and their food paid for, all at the cost of you, the taxpayer. So that's all it would do.
The other thing that I don't know if Nally knows, but I wonder if she knows HR2, because HR2 is actually sitting right now on Chuck Schumer's desk. And guess what HR2 would have done? The exact same thing that these people talk about, the border bill. It's literally right now sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk. All he has to do is just put it on the floor in order for them to vote on it. It's already passed through the House. It literally increases border security funding, policy changes regarding asylum seeking stuff, supports local law enforcement, and it provides more justices in order to fast track through certain asylum seeking laws. It's a copy of what has been brought forth from the Senate. But none of these things actually will deter illegal migrants or migrants from coming up to the southern border and breaking our laws and then abusing our asylum seeking laws. It's just going to incentivize it, right? She cares so much about, she's a mother, she cares so much about her kids. Does she care about fentanyl? Like, does she care about the fact that her kids can potentially one day come across fentanyl because of an open, wide southern border? Or because even if we built a wall, so what? People are going to find a gap in the wall and go through it and then run into a border patrol agents. And then because of progressive policies, they're going to let them stay in the United States. And the cartels are going to continuously capitalize on this stuff. They're going to, the atrocities committed by cartels on a daily basis for 4 straight years under the Biden's administration is really well documented. So,
Yep.
Somebody said, but she's scared of her ex.
What? He's scared of an ex, yeah. All right.
All right. Let's do a couple more. Hi, Maria. Are you a Trump or Kamal supporter?
I am a Trump supporter. It is kind of difficult for me to see some of the things that have been said about this man.
We appreciate it. We appreciate all the Trump supporters, but we have to get to all the Kamala voters. Dang, I thought Nally was going to stick around.
Yeah.
Oh shoot.
Peace out.
Yeah, if you want to talk to Kamala supporters, that's cool. You skip me. I just she went away, but I just had a question for her, or not really a question, but more of a statement. She was talking about being a mom and stuff, and how she was disgusted by, children.
We appreciate it. It's a late night, but we gotta get through this. All right, Aaron, welcome.
Hey, what's up, guys? I know you guys were just talking to Kamala supporters. I had a question about oil, but it's cool.
Okay,
You guys
appreciate it.
Sweet.
Sweet. Good deal. Thanks. Welcome to the live. Are you a Kamala voter?
I am kind of undecided right now. If you'd be open to having that conversation.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I was watching the debate last night. I will say it kind of seems like Tim Walz might be a JD Vance supporter too, which is kind of funny. But I guess a couple of, I don't know if I would say like issues, but just like things that I am kind of confused about. Is just like, one is kind of about like abortion, and like how like I think it's fine that Trump wants to like leave it up to the states and stuff, but like my issue is that like, Walls was talking about how like some women like lost their lives because some doctors were like worried that they were gonna lose like their medical licenses or like get sued for like, saving the mother's life there. I was just kind of like confused on, I guess, like what happened there.
Well, first of all, let me ask you this, Frank. What is to you as a individual living in America is important? Like for me, it's the price of goods. I would tie that to the economy. I'd also say immigration. I don't like the idea of people just being able to come into the United States, abuse our laws, and be here, and then use taxpayers' money to do those things. It's also an issue of public safety. Is abortion something like that for you, or is there something different?
So I agree with you. I think economics, price of goods is very important, and the border, obviously, I know that there's like a problem right now. But I've also seen that like during Trump's presidency, I remember you guys were talking about earlier on the live that there was like the same amount of maybe border crossings or like attempted border people trying to get to the border at the end of Trump's presidency there?
Okay, so I actually don't know what they're talking about because there was a slight increase from the lowest that we were. A lot of that has to do with COVID, for example, various things like that. But what we do know is that it reached the lowest it's ever been. And we're still nowhere near that, where, Trump was 200,000, 250,000 illegal crossings the entire year. Well, right now we're anywhere between 100, 200, sometimes 300,000 illegal crossings on a monthly basis. So, and there's a difference between Trump's administration's policy and approach to the border and in general immigration laws and what we're seeing right now in terms of progressive approach to those things.
That's kind of crazy, to be honest.
And Fabian can actually tell you there's a reason why Democrats are wanting this open border, why they enjoy a lot of the flow of migrants coming into the country, why they really do enjoy using taxpayers' money to subsidize a lot of things that we're supposed to use for veterans or homeless Americans and stuff like that.
Yeah, Flank, I don't know if you know what's happening around the world right now, but this entire flow of migrants, it's not just only happening in America. In fact, it's happening all over the world, all over the Western world. Spain, Portugal, Ireland, the UK. There's a systematic effort going on in all these countries at the same exact time to flood it with illegal immigrants. Now, anyone in the right mind would know that that's not normal. You can't have everything happening everywhere at the exact same time. And then you have to think about, well, how are these people actually getting to the border? And how do they know exactly what to do when they get it? What to say to the border guard to let them know that you're seeking asylum. And then you go and you look at all these organizations that are set up all around Ecuador, Guatemala, that are specifically for helping migrants get over the border. They're giving them printed maps to know exactly where to go. They're giving them a card with some money on it, a phone. They're telling them what to do, what to say when they get there with little cards. Then the government is flying them around in airplanes that are subsidized by the taxpayer. Now, if you see all of this stuff happening, you have to ask yourself, is this planned? And if so, who are all these organizations that are popping up shop in South America and giving these migrants exactly what they need to get over the border? Why would organizations be doing that? And then you got to think, okay, so who's funding these organizations? And it's very easy to see that it's the same corporates that are doing the same thing around the world. So there's something called the Cloward Piven strategy, which David just put on the screen there. And this is a very, very sad document because what it is there's two professors at the University of Yale in the 70s that created a document. These are socialist professors, and you can read it yourself, and anyone can read the Cloward Piven strategy. And what it said is that they need to have a revolution in America to bring down American-style democracy and bring forward socialism. These are socialist professors. Now, what they said is, how do we break down a country that's so strong, strong because of capitalism? Their idea was to flood the country with illegal migrants, so much so that they collapse the welfare system because the state is spending so much money, the country is spending so much money giving these illegals shelter, food, and everything else. Once it collapses the entire system, then and only then can we see a resurgence of what America should have been in their eyes, which is socialism. So this is exactly why all this is happening. It's not random. It can't be happening all over the world at the same time.
So wait, you're saying that Kamala Harris is trying to turn our country socialist?
Well, Frank, that's a broad, you can generalize that statement in so many ways. What Fabian is trying to explain to you is that overall the progressive strategy is to allow as many migrants into the country as possible for various reasons. If she's in favor of socialist policies, well, just look at the stuff that she's taunting, right? These subsidies to individuals, right? All of this knowing that she's going to increase the taxes in order to pay for this stuff. She quite frankly is what we would call an elitist, right? Where she's providing all of these nice social safety programs to individuals and at the cost of actually increasing the taxes on those very young people.
So yeah, my understanding right now of her tax plan, she wants to raise the rates. I don't know if it's to like 28% for people making over $400,000 a year, but she wants to keep Trump's tax cuts for like the middle and lower class. Is that correct?
She wants to keep Trump's tax cut plan, but she won't say that. You know what I mean? So that worries me. And she keeps saying that we want a progressive tax plan. Trump's plan is pretty progressive because individuals earning 10,000 or 15,000 to 50,000, they receive the like 17 to 26% tax rate. 50,000 to 100,000, they receive 15 to 17%. So as higher income you get, the less tax rate they receive. Right? That she's probably going to keep that in place, but that's going to make Democrats and Kamala say that Trump's tax plan wasn't for the wealthy, while they continuously repeat that same statement.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
What is she going to do? She's going to increase corporate taxes from 21% to 28%. Now, you said that she's going to provide business. Well, you didn't say that, but one of the things that she's flirted is she's going to provide small businesses $50,000 when they establish their business. Well, if she's going to increase their taxes by 7%, eventually they're going to pay for the subsidy that they receive, right?
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, think about it. Come back on our live again, man. There's a lot of stuff that we gave you, good information. Look at
last question.
Look at immigration, and if those are the two most important things for you.
For sure. Where would you do like research though, like an unbiased source?
Okay, so first of all, if you want to verify that Trump's tax plan actually benefited the middle class, like I explained to you, in those individual income tax bracket, there's a really good article that essentially analyzed IRS data. You don't want to go analyze it yourself, where they provide you that. Just type in Trump's tax plan for the middle class, the Hill, and they actually did a full investigation into that. Great source. I love it. And you can learn so much in there about that. In terms of illegal crossings and direct policies that were implemented that led to the lowest crossings on record, pretty much find any source for that, because I don't think anybody disagrees with that. So,
okay. All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Yep, no problem.
See you.
I know we were going to say that was the last one, but we'll quickly bring Cam on because I think he said that his account got banned. What's up, Cam?
Hi, man, what's up? Yeah, no, I got banned the other day. I was live and my my account just disappeared. Heard back today from the support email and they are refusing to restore it. So 720K down the drain.
Wow. Yeah,
Damn.
My last account had 1.5 mil and it got banned too. So
jeez.
What do you think it was? Do you remember what you were talking about, or?
no, I mean it definitely was. There's definitely no reason. Like my old account got banned 70 times, and I would just email support and they would unban it and say like, "Yo, you didn't do anything wrong." Unban it until like eventually they would just take longer and longer each time to return my email, and then after I think it's like 3 months or something, if your account doesn't get restored, then it is gone forever. So eventually, like it reached that time period and it just into the void, gone.
Damn.
No, yeah, in each time I had no reason. So the last violation I had on that account was I called somebody a dummy in a comment.
It's a bunch of them reporting you.
Wow. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, like a mass reporting. That sucks, man. I'm sorry to hear that.
We had that happen like a couple of weeks back where every live was getting this restriction. The second we go live, restricted. And I'm like, damn, you don't like what we're saying, just hop off our live. Why sit here and try to censor our speech or our ability to get this out?
Wait, I just remembered something. Oh my God, I know what got me banned. Holy crap.
Oh,
I know what it was. Oh my God, this guy came in and I totally forgot because people have done this before and nothing's happened. This guy, all I remembered was that he said he's gotten like people taken down before, but I didn't take it seriously. But he's like shouted the N-word a bunch of times. And I bet you that's what got me. Do you think that would have gotten my account permabanned?
Definitely. That's what they love to do. They will come in and they will try to do everything. That's what happened to me. I got like banned from going live for a week because somebody was, purposely saying certain things, a way that
Yeah.
on here.
Yeah, just like that girl at the Charlie Kirk event. I don't know if you saw, but she literally secretly just pulled her nipple out to try to get him banned on YouTube, and the editors caught it and they put a little something over it.
Oh my god, I gotta talk to somebody about this. Fuck.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Reach out. We may have certain people that we can help you connect to like TikTok better. I don't know, because I think we know a couple of people that have TikTok.
Yeah. Hit us up in the DM.
Yeah, I will for sure. Damn. Yeah. Are you guys? Do you guys have any more people in the box that are trying to debate? I'm trying to like practice basically.
I think
I have guests.
We were gonna call it a night because we've been on for a bit. But text me and then let's plan something for tomorrow. We'll all go on at the same time and the babies.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
All right, man. Well, you guys have a good night. I'll see you later.
See ya, man.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Guys, we'll end it right there. Thanks for everybody for staying on. We'll go live a little earlier tomorrow, but make sure that you follow The Breakaway on YouTube. That is Fabian and Ice Media Group, where we go live in the mornings. We just, talk about news. This morning we did an analysis on the debate, discussed the strike that's going on. Very fun podcast. Definitely make sure you go and listen to it. In general, follow our accounts, our personal accounts, The Breakaway, anywhere, because that's where you'll see all of our content, Men in the Street content. We're streaming what you're seeing on TikTok right now on YouTube and on Twitter on The Breakaway as well. So if you don't want to stick on TikTok, or if you want to scroll on TikTok while watching this debate on TikTok, that's how you can do it. You can literally have YouTube open while you scroll on TikTok or on Instagram, whatever it is. Guys, we'll continue doing this and probably even after the election, but we have so much cool content coming up because we're going on so many cool trips that you don't want to miss it. And you can find all that content again on The Breakaway and on our personal pages. Make sure you follow Fabian. Make sure you follow me. All of our names are the same across.
Yeah, there's a link in my bio.